Hey everyone, Hallie here. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different and share a story about myself. Now, I haven't done story times on this channel before. This is the first time I've ever done a story like this, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit and get a little bit experimental. So if you guys do enjoy this different style of content, just leave me a like or let me know down in the comments below. But today I'm going to share a story from middle school. I feel like this would be a great story to introduce my more personal side of my life to you guys by sharing something extremely idiotic that I did. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So this story takes place in middle school, and during middle school, and honestly up until I was honestly about when I was 16, I was extremely annoying. Now, I was always told I was annoying. I never really realized it. I don't know if I just never grew self-awareness until I was 16, but I was incredibly annoying. And one thing I did enjoy was attention. That kind of just came a part of being annoying. And I'm sure everyone enjoys attention. Let's be honest with ourselves. With that little personal aspect of my life, let's talk about when this story takes place. So the story takes place on a fine school day. We were in the library during like a study period. I don't know if you guys have, if you experienced that during high school or middle school, but we had about an hour of just free time where we literally did nothing. Nothing would be done, maybe some homework, but that's about it. 5 minutes to homework, and then it's just 55 minutes of doing nothing. I'm really not sure why the school had this time. Everyone just thought it was a waste of time, even the teachers, but it still existed. That's besides the point. So I'm in the library during this study time, and I'm sitting next to my friend, and for this story, I don't want to use his real name, of course, we're gonna just call him Rob. Now, Rob is a little bit of a mutual friend. We're not really super close with one another, but on this fateful day, Rob pulled out some Smarties. I don't know who brought up the idea, but someone brought up the idea of snorting these Smarties. Now, before I get into this, don't do this. This is dangerous. There's someone who, I know that got an ear infection from snorting Smarties. This is an extremely stupid thing to do, but it's something that, middle schoolers would do, and that's who I was. I was a stupid 13-year-old. So we start crushing up this Smartie. I think we just kind of bashed it against the table, or just used our thumbs to press it. And as we're doing this, of course, my classmates start to notice. People start to pick up on what's going on. Of course, we're not the pioneers of snorting Smarties. It's been done before, and it will continue to be done. But the thing is, this was later. This was, snorting Smarties, if anything, that was more of an elementary school thing. The fact we were doing it in middle school was kind of crazy, but it was a good throwback that, the library, all my classmates seemed to appreciate. So we start chopping up this Smartie, and we're waiting for the teacher to leave the little section of the library. Basically, they stuffed all of, whether it's 7th or 8th grade, they would stuff them into a library, and then the teachers would have to watch all of these students. So they're patrolling around, and we're waiting for the perfect moment for when we can, go in on our lines. And it was bad. Of any group of people who are trying to keep a secret, middle schoolers are the worst group to trust. So everyone, even though we were trying to keep it low-key and snort Smarties, of course we wanted that attention. That was the whole reason we were doing it. There's no point of snorting Smarties outside of possibly hurting yourself and getting an infection. It is just not worth it. It damages your nasal cavity. You can't regrow that. Don't snort. Just don't snort things, okay? Don't do that. We make our lines with these Smarties, and we're hiding them from the teacher. We're waiting for her to go away, and we feel the perfect opportunity, and we take it. So we go ham. We we just snort some Smarties. And what ended up happening was the teacher came back, and there really wasn't any way of hiding it. The entire section of the library was looking at us. People were talking, people were laughing, and of course when the teacher comes looking at us, we have Smartie dust under our noses.
Now, one piece of information that I think is very important to note is that I hate getting in trouble. Especially when I was younger, I feared getting in trouble. So, especially, in middle school, In this situation, I was trying to find any way to get out. I looked like Pablo Escobar, but I was trying to convince this teacher, please let us go. And, maybe I was high off the Smartie fumes, even though that's not how that works, thinking that was going to work. But, of course, she sealed our fate. We didn't really have much bargaining power. And believe me, Rob, whatever I'm calling him for this story, he also tried bargaining, but our combined efforts of bargaining did not work.
And I thought I was getting away. I didn't think this was a big deal at all. And I don't know if my teacher just hated me. Maybe she found me annoying, as I was talking about earlier. But she said, no, you're going to the principal's office. So she walked us down to the principal's office, and it was embarrassing. And you know what? Lesson learned. Basically, we were held in the principal's office. There was like a recess period. We were held during recess. In middle school, that is heartbreaking. But we were almost high schoolers. So, we kind of had to grow away from that middle school recess culture. But I'm pretty sure even in high school I had recess, which is kind of crazy. Anyways, that is essentially the entire story. I didn't really get in any trouble. I had to write an apology note to the teacher, and it was like in crayon. It was goofy. I don't even think the school took it seriously. But I mean, this is something that is dangerous. I never do this. Okay, don't do drugs. Don't do Smarties. You can eat Smarties, but do not snort them. Just be very careful with your body. And that's an important thing. But great news from this story. We got in no trouble outside of missing recess, but certainly worse things could have happened to us, like a suspension or whatever. But yeah, with that being said, never snort Smarties. And that really is about the end of the story. I don't know why I always think about this. Maybe it was just because it was such a stupid thing. But I thought it was just an interesting little story to share. And I thought it would be a pretty good start to story times and just kind of introducing a more personal side of my channel. So let me know what you all think of this down in the comments below. Did you enjoy this story? Would you like to see some other content, maybe some other video games? I play so many video games. I've been playing Oblivion. That game is so good. I'd never played it when I was younger, but oh my gosh, it is so good. So let me know what you all would like to see down in the comments below. Did you enjoy this story? Did you not? Let me know. But with that being said, please don't snort Smarties or do drugs. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.